Hola, mis amigos, bienvenidos. So welcome to my second graders. We're going to continue on with our unit on Mi Familia, and this will be our last week before we try to start making our Spanish family tree. All right, so in your activity today, you're going to see attached to your template, as well as a link that you can print out, this worksheet. So it's going to look like this. And I'm going to do a quick little mini lesson using a verb that you've seen before, but I'm going to go over it with you again. You can probably see it sitting on the whiteboard behind me. And then you're going to be using this sheet that you can either print out, you can actually use your stylus in Seesaw to complete, or if neither of those options work for you, you can just get a blank piece of paper and you can write your sentences on that and just take a snapshot and send it back to me. All right. So you guys have been working on learning some new Spanish vocabulary that has to do with your family, tu familia. This week, you're going to take that vocabulary and write 5 sentences, so 5 frases, 5 sentences for me about who belongs or who you have as members of your family. All right. So this is your worksheet. I'm just going to kind of tuck it over here so we can refer to that. And then what I did is I kind of set up my whiteboard to look similar to your worksheet so we can go over that together. And I'm just going to bring my computer in a little bit closer so you guys can see kind of what I'm doing. So at the top, the first thing you're going to have is you have nombre y fecha. Obviously, where it says nombre, escribes tu nombre y escribes la fecha. So in Espanol, if I say cuál es la fecha, what is the date? It would be la fecha es el 27 de abril de 2020. All right, so it's April 27th, 2020. And remember, in Spanish-speaking countries, the day always comes first and then the month. So we say 27 de abril. All right. Now, we have talked about this verb tener. Remember, verbs are action words. They're doing words. In Spanish, you conjugate words differently depending on who is doing the action. So I, you, he, she, it, we, you, and they. All right. We primarily have worked on I and how to conjugate in that tense. Okay. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there. So in Espanol, the way that we would say to have is tener. So if you can say tener means to have in Spanish. So you wouldn't necessarily in a sentence say to have, especially if you were talking about something that you personally had. So if you want to write a sentence in Spanish and you want to say, I have something, you need to conjugate that for the tense of I, or for the pronoun of I. So if you want to say, I have, this word yo, Y-O, which in Spanish-speaking countries, they usually say yo or yo. If you say yo, which is I, and tengo, so you're kind of getting rid of the ER and you're changing it to O, that will mean I have. So to say I have in Spanish, you say yo tengo or yo tengo. So we're going to be using this expression and the verb tener, which means to have, to write 5 sentences about people that you have or things that you have in your family. So we've talked about su madre, su padre, su abuelo, su tía, su perro, su gato. We've talked about some of the pets that you might have in your family. You're going to tell me about 5 things that you have in your family, 5 people or a pet. On your worksheet, you're going to notice when you look at it, the first 2 sentences, I actually wrote for you the words yo tengo. You don't have to write them. You just have to write for me who you have in your family. So do you have a sister? Do you have a brother? If you do, you might write yo tengo una hermana. So my example for my first sentence is going to be to write a sentence that says yo tengo. So this would be I have, And if I want to say I have a sister, I would write yo tengo una hermana. And that would be one sentence done. And then I'd be ready to go on to my next sentence. I'm going to use the same beginning. Yo tengo. And now you're going to tell me somebody else who you have as a part of your family. On your worksheet, you're going to see a line, a blank line like that. On that line, that is where you're going to write who you have as part of your family. You have to do this 5 times. On your worksheet, I start to phase out the Spanish words I'm writing, and you, by the very end, will have to write the entire sentence. So the first 2 sentences, I wrote yo tengo for you. The next 2 sentences, I just wrote yo, or yo, I. And then the last one, number 5, you have to write the whole thing on your own. If you're having trouble, you can go back to other assignments and look at your Google Slides. And I'm going to add it to my assignment or to my journal feed so you can look at them and flip through them if you want. Remember, you can talk about your pets. So if you have a cat, you could say, yo tengo un gato. Remember, una and un both mean a or a. If you want to say, I have the cat, which really wouldn't make too much sense here, the un would be L. Okay? But we're going to stick with un because we want to say a. I have a cat. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to email me your questions or concerns. And like I said, everything is in Seesaw. Lots of options on how you complete it today. You can complete it right in Seesaw on your worksheet that you can print out or on any scrap piece of paper. All right, mis amigos, buena suerte y adios.